This has to be done. I was not planning on this. I was just going to do what I casually do every single time something like this takes place. I was just going to sit back and watch. But it is increasingly annoying to me how we come into this situation almost every year with something being a headline, something being something on Twitter that leads to a bunch of engagement, likes, retweets, quote tweets, and everybody wants to have the general hot take or the general opinion that in their mind is 100% correct. And if you just poke one hole in it, obviously, you're someone who is hating or you don't care about a specific group of people or whatever lame duck excuse anybody wants to come up with for asking a genuine question. I'm certain many of you are aware that there was a woman who went missing for 2 days because she reported of a toddler being on the side of the road and went to go check on that child and then went missing. Now, as of me stating all of this to you, she has been found and she is safe with her family.
Days after she went missing following an alarming 911 call, Carly Russell is safe and back at home.
Yes, her loved ones of the Hoover woman breathing a sigh of relief after they faced emotional searches looking throughout our state and beyond.
And this morning we're learning more about what led up to that disappearance. WVTM 13's Patsy Douglas is joining us live from Hoover this morning. Patsy, walk us through the latest timeline from police.
Well, that updated information of what we know right now is that Russell returned home on foot to her family's home in Hoover. She was then taken to UAB to get checked out, but now she's back home. But the days led up to her return has been a journey. Now, Hoover police say Carly Russell left work at the Summit Shopping Center about 8:30 on Thursday night and went to a nearby restaurant in Colonnade to pick up dinner. Investigators reporting that she then got on 459 and started driving home. About 9:30, police say Russell called 911 saying she saw a toddler in a diaper on the side of 459. She then called a relative to tell them about the situation, but the call got lost. Families' concerns grew. During that moment, police rushed to the scene and found her car and belongings on the side of the interstate. After family and crews spent all of Friday and even Saturday searching, she finally returned home about 10:45 Saturday night. And Hoover police say they've had conversation with Carly, but as of now, those details have not been released just yet. Back to you guys.
And Patsy, I'm sure this has been an emotional roller coaster for her loved ones.
Yeah, what are they saying, Patsy, now that she's safe and back at home?
Well, Carly's mom, her name is Talitha Russell, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw that Facebook post, but she is very thankful for the community's support. She also said in that statement that she is thankful for the hard work that many of them have been doing for her daughter, and she also says God is faithful and has answered some of her prayers. We are so grateful to each of you. We all the acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion that you have shown. Her mother then went on to say that their privacy as they want privacy as they love on their daughter right now. And of course, she plans on giving out a statement as well very soon on the what exactly happened to Carly, but we haven't got that information just yet.
And if I were just somebody who had a Disneyland mindset, I could clap my hands and say everything is right with the world. But I have numerous questions that need to be answered because it's important to answer them no matter how much people want to say things like, you know, some of you really need to get a life. Carly Russell has been found, and because she's not dead, suddenly it was a hoax and you have questions and yada yada. Fuck you and your I watch true crime shows quasi-intellectual bullshit. First of all, I don't watch true crime. I think it's pointless. And as of the past week, true crime's taken a hit in credibility. So that means absolutely nothing to me. I don't even want to put my chips into saying it's an outright hoax. Why? Because there's not a lot of information out there to say it was a hoax. As I've told you all numerous times with the, put a pin in this, numerous examples of people saying something, it catching a lot of media attention, and it turns out being fake. It's important to wait for more information. Because if you don't wait for that information, you will be looking stuck, dumb, and stupid, betting your chips on one side. And with this entire situation, it's a bunch of people betting it all on one thing without just leaving a little room for speculation, because apparently speculation is nothing but hate. The speculations are insane. I don't care if she was high, tripping, got naked, and ran off. She was found alive. That was what the search and news coverage was about. She was missing. Y'all are upset because she showed up alive. I would just like to point out, for a lot of people who have this mindset, and anyone who wants to say asking questions is a form of hating on this woman or not believing her story.
It hasn't even been 24 hours since this girl returned home, and people have already come to the conclusion that she's lying. It was a hoax. She had something to do with her own abduction. She played a role in her own disappearance. Like, how did y'all get here so quick? I have my own theories just like anybody else, but I don't like being loud and wrong. So I'm going to just sit back and watch it unfold. I would genuinely love to know how, with the wee bit of information of her going missing on Thursday and popping back up on Sunday, how did y'all come to the conclusion that it's fake or that she lied? Especially with no details on her condition when she showed back up being released. Like, we don't know if she showed back up beaten, bruised, battered. We don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows anything. So how, with this wee bit of information, did y'all come to the conclusion that it's a hoax and that it should be dismissed? I'm really asking. I'm genuinely confused.
This all started because she was calling her family and the police about a toddler being on the side of the road. And she, like a good Samaritan would, went to go check on the child, and then it led to her being someone who disappeared from existence for 2 days. So when we come up and find out that there is publicly available camera footage of the road that this woman was on, we run into a couple of questions that need to be addressed. Number one, you see the child on the side of the road. You pull over, you park very far away from said child and want to walk all the way back to that child and then presumably walk the child back to your car and wait for police to show up. I'm sorry, there's questions that need to be asked there. Second, as it pertains to the video footage that's publicly available, if you squint really hard, I'm not saying that to be funny, I'm saying that because I had to spend time actually doing this. If you squint really hard, you can see somebody on the left side of the car go to the right side of the car, and then after that, you don't really see much else. You don't see no movement from the trees, you don't see no movement from the top of the screen, you don't see no movement from the back of the screen, you don't even see the child making any movements from wherever this person was presumably seeing where this child is. And no, if anyone was to ask a genuine question about where this child is, it's not presuming that this woman is lying. It's to add to the context that, hey, this woman's been found. Now there's a child potentially being used as bait to kidnap others or to put others in a situation that no one else wants to be in. So saying, oh, you all need to get a life because you're asking questions about this situation is a little bit disingenuous when you consider that this all started from the word of mouth from the woman who went missing. Shout out to SF Investigates, because this person spent dedicated time looking through the public information, not speculating, and wanted to highlight some important points that I think is important for anyone to see if you actually genuinely care about this being something true, actually wanting to get the word out that there's a kid potentially being used as bait to kidnap others, or if you're someone who is desperate in the camp to just call it an outright hoax. 9:34 p.m. Carly calls 911 to report a toddler walking around I-459. 9:36, Carly is talking to her sister-in-law on the phone. This means she called 911 because of a toddler walking along the interstate, and the call was terminated within 90 seconds. This leads me to believe she hung up on 911 possibly. Important points. I-459 was very busy. There were no other reports of anyone seeing a toddler. This would have been a major event on any interstate. No reports of a struggle or an ambush. For an ambush to happen, she would have had to stop at the exact perfect location for someone lying in wait. Conflicting accounts by family that 911 call was a three-way call with 911 and the family member not proven wrong. Carly's Apple Watch is found in her purse, but she is wearing it in the last photo taken of her from a few hours earlier. All electronics trackable are left behind: watch, phone, AirPods. The spot her car was captured by traffic cam video is the exact location she told 911 and the family she was at. So anything happening in this area would be on video. Not great quality, because obviously, as you all want to talk about what the police need to do in terms of finances, they need to have better cameras so that we don't have to come into this situation every single time body cam footage is brought up or security cam footage is brought up. Law enforcement has been completely silent today and have not appeared with the family on camera as far as I've seen. I think law enforcement and the family have different theories. I do hope Carly is having an episode and is hiding because she is scared and misinterpreting the reality of the situation instead of the alternative theory of an abduction. But anything is on the table right now. These are just questions I have, and it is just that easy to map out what you see publicly and go with that and say, hey, I got a couple of points that I want to hammer home, but no, you got to go the route of saying, oh my God, these people are harassing somebody. Oh my God, they're doing this woman dirty. This was the funny one. Oh my God, y'all don't have this same fanfare for a white woman. And maybe I'm a little bit crazy. Maybe I'm a little bit slow on the uptick of a bunch of people being in situations that are a little bit confusing and they shouldn't really be in. And it creates this fanfare where people care, and those same people will still ask questions. There was a white woman who proclaimed to everybody that she was kidnapped or beaten up by two Hispanic women, and that ended up being a crock of shit, and she spent 18 months in prison for that. So I struggle to understand how anybody could actually think anyone operating in good faith with asking questions is somehow just picking on a random black woman. I'm gonna bore you all with this long testimony from the Hoover Police Department that has an update on the Carly Russell case from 19 seconds ago as I'm going through this. The Hoover Police Department is releasing additional information on the safe return of Carly Russell. Since the time of the 911 call at 9:34 p.m. on July 13th of 2023, the Hoover Police Department has expended every available resource into locating Carly, and we celebrate with the Russell family on her safe return at approximately 10:44 p.m. on July 15th. The following information are facts we have been able to determine at this point in the investigation. We are still gathering and evaluating evidence in this case. So, for the people in the back who are for some reason, and I see you and I am disappointed in you, you are typing a paragraph very upset at me for pointing out obvious holes in a story that would make no sense to anyone who is also concerned about a child being used as bait. You have to understand, what I'm going to read to you is everything the police have and they're giving to the public. I'm not interested in speculation. I'm not interested in jumping to a random conclusion. I would love to just sit back and wait and comfortably lather myself in cocoa butter lotion. The reason why I'm doing this is because for some reason, asking questions is now deemed as a problem, and we're just supposed to rub our hands together and sing kumbaya. It's all over. We got one person found safely, so everybody else, fuck them. The potential for this to be something that reoccurs in this same area, nah, we can't actually care about that because this person's found safely. That means every other situation is completely mute. Carly left work from a business at the Summit in Birmingham at approximately 8:20 p.m. She ordered food from a nearby business at the Colonnade and traveled there. We have worked to retrace all of her actions from the time she left the Colonnade until she called 911 and are well on our way to completing that task. At this point in the investigation, we have not been able to locate anyone with Carly from the time she left the Colonnade until 911 call was made. Carly communicated on her cell phone with the individuals known to her while on her path of travel up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m. The conversation with the 911 operator ended ended and Carly called a relative. She went missing during that conversation sometime after 9:36 p.m. after telling both the 911 operator and the relative she had seen a male toddler in a diaper on the side of the I-459 and was stopping to check on him. Traffic camera footage was obtained which depicted this portion of the incident, and that footage is still being analyzed as part of the investigation in conjunction with the 911 call to accurately determine the time frame. Carly's 911 call remains the only timely report of a child on the interstate. Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly behind. They located Carly's wig, cell phone, and purse on the roadway near her vehicle, and Carly's Apple Watch was in her purse. Investigators with the Crimes Against Persons Unit were notified, and the investigation immediately began in earnest, with numerous leads being followed, which kind of debunks this whole concept of they don't really care about black people going missing, because if they spent all this time looking for them, obviously they care about somebody who's gone missing. Many local and state and federal agencies immediately offered assistance and provided personnel and other resources to the investigation. No stone was left unturned, and the investigation continued throughout the weekend. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 Center received the call from Carly's residence that she had returned home on foot, because there's a lot of contention about where she was at, because there's also people saying that she was at a Red Roof Inn. Hoover police and fire responded to the residence where Carly was located. She was immediately transported by the Hoover Fire Department to UAB Hospital to be evaluated and was treated and released. Detectives responded to the residence and to the UAB to take an initial statement from Carly. The details of that statement are a part of an ongoing investigation which is expected to continue over the next few days. During the initial portion of the investigation, detectives were able to retrace nearly all of Carly's steps until the point she went missing, and are confident that will continue to be the case. The Hoover police continue to be extremely grateful for the outpouring of support from the Hoover community and beyond, and all of the assistance provided by our law enforcement partners, which are too numerous to name. We rejoice with the Russell family as they continue to rest and recover from the situation, and ask that their wishes to be respected regarding their privacy. This release contains all the information the Hoover Police Department is available to release at this time as we continue to investigate blah 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 blah. So, here's everything you would need out publicly from the police. This is from the police. This ain't no random TMZ website. This is from Hoover's Police Department, hooverpd.com. And they're telling you flat out what they got, what they've done, and how they got here so far. I implore you people to just wait. I know it's stressful. I know you want to have some clicks. I know you want to have the first hot take that leads to all this engagement. I know you want to be the first person to be correct. But guess what? The problem with that is there could be a scenario where you are wrong. So I implore everybody to just keep an open mind. Keep everything open. There's a possibility that this is 100% true and she is a victim and she's struggling. There's also the possibility that she went through a mental episode and she was sporadic and she was walking around in different areas and she's turned up back at home safely. There's the possibility that this is all true and she got kidnapped, and as testimony from the boyfriend is accounted, she's fighting for her life for 2 days. There's also the possibility that this is all fake. There's the overwhelming possibility that this is all true and there's a random kid still out there being used as bait. These are all possibilities based off of information that is public. No speculation, no wondering, no random conspiracy theories. I understand you have numerous examples about people saying something happened, getting a lot of fanfare, in some cases getting money, and it turns out being bull. I get that. I understand that. But I can't jump on that bandwagon with y'all because the information is not conclusive and there's not enough to say it's fake. So realistically, I'll be back with another video once the time comes, once a press conference comes out, once more information comes out, and I'll either say, hey, this is all true. This woman was a victim and she fought back and she is home safe. And we need to now focus on finding a child. Or I'll come back on here and I'll look back at comments like this, and the various other videos of people saying, it's kind of weird how y'all didn't turn about face on a black woman. It's kind of weird how y'all were praying for the safety of this woman, and now you're just looking at a way to criticize her. I will be looking at all of those people and say, isn't it funny how we bought into this story and then we pulled the race card when it was convenient, when people were just asking questions? Because it's odd how that became a factor when people were asking reasonable questions. And I will leave you all with this. Never be ashamed at being skeptical. Do I think you should go up to somebody who's saying that they were a victim of something and say, you're an outright liar? No. What I'm saying is, if you have a question, reasonably ask it. Don't be a dick. Just reasonably ask. And anyone who's genuine will answer it. Anyone who's not will gaslight you into feeling a certain way about asking those questions. I'm glad we could all enjoy these few minutes of a rant. I'll see you all in the next one. I apologize you didn't get to jerk off to my beautiful face, but I'm hopeful that this image you're seeing on the screen was enough for you to be moist and satiated with. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.